Casey and George back on another Tuesday with Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel, as we are every single week, 5 Eastern, 4 Central, 3 if you're way out there on the California side, Las Vegas side. I don't know about where y'all are at. Sometimes there's people watching in Mozambique, evidently. But as always, if you're out there, you need to order some parts for TSR Racing Products, Champs Performance Parts, BRG 3D printed parts, Syntex Printing out there in Temple, Texas, which, by the way, if you saw that picture, I got a whole bunch of stickers. We appreciate all the love that you guys give us, putting the stickers on your race cars, helping us out, getting GBR out there. Like and subscribe to the YouTube, Facebook, and the podcast platforms if you have the opportunity or know anybody who's interested in this bracket racing thing we all do. Driven Racing Oil, use the code GBR10. Get yourself a little discount over there. I just put up a video yesterday, I want to say on the Facebook page, might have done it on the Instagram page also, not sure. But literally hands down the best racing oil that you're actually going to be able to buy. Everybody's got their own deal with oils. That's time and time again, people beat it to death. But the proof is in the pudding. You can see the video. That's 45 runs on that oil with methanol. Everybody knows methanol kills your oil. Driven Racing Oil is by far the best that I've ever ran. That was even before we got the deal. George knows that. Right. All y'all that think I'm just pushing it because they sponsor us, that's not true. I was running it for a year before they ever came on board. We appreciate them coming on board. I hope that y'all actually go out and check that out. Use the code GBR10, get yourself a little discount. Proform parts, again, man, best parts in the industry as far as aftermarket. Get them on your street car, get them on your race car. They sell a whole bunch of stuff. I got the starter on my car, got the alternator on my car from them. It's it'll charge you up and start you up every single round, time and time again, especially whenever you're doubling. You need that alternator. Crew Chief Pro software. I know that Crew Chief Pro software gets you out there, get your predictions in order. You get that gust of wind coming through, you might know that you're slowing down. Get that cold front coming through, maybe you know you're speeding up. You'll know ahead of time whenever your opponents don't, and every thousandth counts nowadays. George, you know what I'm talking about.
Know exactly what you're talking about. Shoot, those thousandths might have costed me around this week. But that's here nor there. We all make our boo-boos. Well, this time I let go good and made one at the finish line. So you live and you learn, right? That's what we're all here for. Only way not to come back from it is if you don't learn anything. So learned a lot this weekend. Omo ran good. Definitely very much so getting used to Crew Chief Pro software. It is new to my camp. But I love the logbook view, man. I was able to just tear down the whole weekend of racing in a click of a button without having to have 20 or, I guess I didn't make 20 passes, but 5 different time slips in my hand, trying to remember what time slip is what and all that. Well, Crew Chief Pro's, a very organized system there. So being able to use it is coming in handy. So, but definitely had a good outing with Mo. Ended up bowing out fourth round to one of the Hefflers, I believe. Loaded me up on the trailer. So, but I definitely, at the same time and under the same breath, I got to give a shout out to XRP, Extreme Raceway Park out here in Dallas. And I guess it's just a little bit outside of the city. But, man, I want to count. I think I saw 4 or 5 guys working this event for the track. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't seen, a race ran so smoothly with the amount of unknowns. At first, the weather was going to be terrible, so everybody's scared about that. So then that make us not open up on Friday. So everybody gets there on Saturday morning. I mean to tell you, Casey, when I tell you I got off the interstate and I made my right turn to get ready to head over to the track. And basically, if you've never been to XRP, you're going one direction and the track is actually on the opposite side of the road. And you got to make a loop around a big bridge to come back to the track. Man, if I must tell you, I was sitting by that bridge. I felt like I was 2 miles away from the track, and then as soon as that happened, I had to go to the bathroom. I'm gonna be sitting here for about an hour, or maybe longer, and I gotta go to the bathroom. You ever been in that situation?
Hey, man, I have been in that situation a lot of times, but I can tell you another thing. Aren't you glad that there is that big line outside of your racetrack, outside
Yeah.
of your home track?
Yeah, no question about it, man. No question. And then to make it even better, I mean to tell you, I was in line 30 minutes. I'm serious. I expected to be in line for about an hour and 15, 20 minutes. And next thing you know, I see a lady coming down the way with a clipboard. Well, she's getting all the signatures while we're all in line waiting to come in. That's smart, number one. Number two, somebody else is taking the money. Somebody's handing out the IHRA membership form because this was an IHRA Sportsman Spectacular. So shout out to XRP all the way around, from the track staff to the bar to the concession stands, whatever you want to call it. That place was running pretty good. And I mean to tell you, there were a lot of juniors out there too, buddy. A lot of juniors showed up. So I had a good time out there at XRP. Glad to call that most likely my home track for quite some time to come.
That's good to know, man. And like I said before, it's good to know that there's a big line outside of your home track, because that means the sport's alive and well. Everybody wants to tear things down, things like that. It's like we were talking about with Danny Waters Jr. a couple weeks ago. Ultimately everybody's always saying sports dying, sports dying. Well, it ain't dying in a lot of places, man. And in fact, it might be growing. And it's great to see the junior program being big, because that means that there's going to be a lot more people for us to race down the road, which means the tracks are going to be well. And that means that ultimately the sport's just going to get bigger and bigger.
True statement, man. True statement. So definitely a real good shout out for that race. And then with all that rain there, I think they only got a fraction of what actually would have showed up if the weather was actually exactly how it was at the track. It ended up being not a single cloud in the sky a little bit after 11, 12 o'clock. It started off pretty cold and ended up pretty nice. So pretty good race. Man, talk to me about Gallatin, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Well, that looked like a good race as well, with some adversity.
We must have been on the same page there, because I was just getting ready to say that was a perfect transition point whenever you were talking about clouds and rain, man, because talk about clouds and rain, there were a lot of clouds and a lot of rain out here. And I'm talking one day it rained just flat out all day long at my house. I'm about 20 minutes from Gallatin. Whatever weather's at my house is what's happening there. I know there was a little bit of rain every day at some point throughout the day. And I can tell you for a fact that pretty much the only people who were going to get that race in is the Spring Fling Bracket Series, Peter Biondo. That's the only person that's going to make that race happen. Me and you talked about it several times throughout the week. And, absolutely the worst forecast. Believe it or not, the forecast got better. And it was still the worst forecast so far this year. And, Peter, super smart, moving the race up one day, moving everything up. The warm-up event started the day before, ran a 50K the next day, got the 15 and the 50 finished, then still got the dragster shootout in, which neither of us were sure that they were going to actually have happen. I think it was a 20K shootout. Maybe we kept thinking personally that it was a dragster shootout, but I guess it was a 20K shootout. McKenna Brown actually ended up winning it. Shout out also to JJ Pennington, man, for an announcing job that, quite frankly, you would expect his dad to be the one to put that on, but he learned from the best. He's going to be one of the best announcers for a long, long time to come. Glad to have JJ up there in the tower anytime that we get the opportunity to have him up there. Calls laps, maybe even better than his old man, JJ. You can let him see that. You can let him get at me later. But, yeah, man, also shout out to all of our locals, man. Me and Quez were talking about this last week, about people who are going to be surprised who they start seeing in these lower rounds. And it's a lot of locals, man. A lot of those guys live around here. Tommy Plott taking home the $100,000, probably wheeling all the way home with that bag of money in the back of the truck. Nick Walmack going deep. I want to say in the first 50K, getting down to 6 cars, 5 cars, whatever it was at that point. Blaine Parrish was in the running for the MVP, man. Blaine was going round after round after round, won a pair of SR20 heads. So who knows what Blaine's going to have in the works on this deal, man, because he doesn't have any big blocks yet, but you never know. That Mustang might be leaving on the bumper, because that's how old Blaine likes to do every once in a while. Jamie Caudill going to the finals of 15K, Will Holloman winning that 15K.
Right.
Brandon Lane getting to about 5th round one of these days. I mean, Will Holman MVP the whole weekend.
You guys got Fuqua too, right?
I want to say he might be from Tennessee.
I
Not
got you.
sure.
Okay, I got you. I thought he was out there with you guys too, but man, he showed out pretty good too. So
Yeah, man.
that's pretty good.
This is the land of the winners, man. I'm telling you. The At the end of the day, man, a lot of the people that run a lot of this big money stuff, Galat's, if it's not their home track, it's real close to their home track. A lot of people from VMP run there. A lot of people from Darlington run there. That's why you see what you see.
Right. Hey, David, I'm not going to butcher your last name. I think it's Mir, but thanks for joining in, man. Thanks for supporting the GBR community and listening on the podcast and everything. Daniel Morton says he got beat like a drum. Hey, man, that happens. I got my head kicked in pretty good, too, there, man. So we'll take our licks and we'll learn from our mistakes and we'll keep moving because that's what we do here at GBR.
Shout out to Daniel and Travis Morton too, man. The Morton brothers, you never want to pull up against them in the lanes. And specifically Daniel, man. Daniel's car has Caltrax and a small tire, and that thing was leaving like it was getting up there with what my Malibu used to do, man. I mean, it was pretty wild. I mean, Caltrax is good stuff. I started looking at the pictures, and if he hasn't bought the picture of his Nova doing those big wheelies at Galat, he needs to buy that and frame it, put it on the wall in the garage for sure, because Travis was telling me the other day he won the wheelie contest. I think your brother might have beat you, Travis.
Hey, man, that's pretty good. I want to go back to JJ real quick, though, because I had a message come through my phone I needed to get to pretty quick. But JJ, man, I got to take my hat off to that guy, and I'll go ahead and do it. Hey, man, hey, heck of an interview that I watched with him and Pete Biondo. You wouldn't think that kid, 17-year-old, being able to field the questioning from one of the greatest of all times and still do that with, number one, a heck of a lot of class, and number two, with some smarts. He attacked it like an adult would, and so, young man, you did a good job. Hats off to you, and I know that you give a lot of credit to your dad, so hats off to your dad too. Big Jed, good job raising that old boy there.
That's right, man. And, going back to the whole interview thing, him interviewing others also, you and I were talking about this on the phone the day after Peter Biondo did the interview with JJ Pennington. And I was telling you, I was like, man, if I just listen on the radio to this, or if I just listen, I guess, on the YouTube show and didn't actually see it was JJ, of course, I would have known it was him. But I'm just saying, if I didn't, I wouldn't think JJ was 17 years old, man. That kid's going to be, well, just like you said, he's going to ace speech class in college. That's going to be no big deal.
Yeah, he's not going to have a problem with speech class. You're already on the video, and shoot, jitters are gone.
That kid, at the end of the day, I think whenever he gets out of college, whatever he chooses to do, I really think that he's, in for a treat as far as whatever career he ends up going into, because he's so well spoken. If he was going to get nervous, he'd get nervous already. And I think that ultimately, after it's all said and done, I think he might be jumping a couple rungs on the clipboard whenever he goes into his first interview.
Yeah, it's a true statement, man. So yeah, definitely shout out. Kerry Carr here saying Sugar Shane started off pretty good, and generally when you say you started out strong, you probably didn't end as strong. So I'm just gonna let that comment speak for itself, guys. So, Casey, man, we got a lot going on this week, and I figure we might as well get ready to jump off into what I think will be one of the strongest series in the Midwest, I think, and that can be up for debate. I really don't care. I'm not saying it because it's a buddy of mine and his brother throwing the race. But we're going to be starting the races at Central Illinois Dragway. That I believe it's called the Lucky Sevens. Casey, man, this race is going to go off pretty good. I'm expecting to see a lot of people show up out here, and especially those who aren't going to Bowling Green. What do you think, Casey?
Yeah, it's kind of the same general vicinity. It's the same racers. Those of you who aren't going to TB Promotions race, Obviously, that's going to be the mainstay headlining race of the week out there in Bowling Green, Kentucky. But man, this race at Central Illinois Dragway, if you want to know a little bit more about it and you're on the fence about it, watch the show we had with Greg Gebhardt maybe about a month ago or 2 months ago, something like that. And look at this race, man. 7,000 to win box, 1750 to win no box, 500 to win junior dragster. This is a series, though, guys. I mean, I want to say there's going to be 12 of them total.
12 total.
Something like that. Point series is also going to be involved. They were talking about having a big race for the top 10 in points at the end of the season. That's going to be like a free entry type deal that if you're top 10 in points, you're all going to run off for a decent amount of money. Right. And don't get my words twisted around because I'm not the one running this race, but I'm fairly certain that's what it said. Like I said, if you want to know a little bit more about this race, we had Greg Gebhardt on. Go back and find that show. He'll tell you everything you need to know about that race.
And I'll tell you what, yeah, that's going to be one heck of an event. I even heard through the grapevine, a little birdie flew past me today and said that I believe old Hank Mulligan is going to be calling the laps at that race. So definitely going to be a entertaining race, to say the least. I know my family's going to be out there. My dad will be out for the first time of the year, most likely in the Corvette, as I know that the dragster's not quite ready to go yet. But my dad and my uncle, I expect, and maybe Todd Nickel will be out there taking care of some business at Havana Drag Strip. So definitely, if you're in that area and you got nothing going on, you don't have any excuses. There's enough there for you to make a good weekend out of it. So I did see Casey kind of segueing into the next race that we got coming up. I did see that, as we kind of alluded to last week, old Ryan Gleghorn came through to get us a live stream for the Stampede of Speed. Looked like Bang Shift is going to stream this race for us so we can see that quarter-mile shootout, number one. But even the other races surrounding that quarter-mile shootout is going to be pretty interesting. What do you think, Casey?
I don't even know the word. I guess elated, ecstatic. You go on and on and on. But I am so glad that Ryan found somebody to do the live feed for that race, because the race itself is going to be great just because the people. I mean, if you look at the list of the quarter-mile shootout alone, obviously all those guys are going to be entered in the regular race also. But this quarter-mile shootout is going to be the coolest race to watch as an online spectator. Or obviously, it'd be better if you were in person. It'd be better if you were running the race. Right. But if you're someone like me who lives a long way from Texas, it is awesome that you're going to have a moving camera watching these cars. And sometimes I wonder if old Chad's going to sit here and have to zoom out a whole bunch, seeing, like I always say, Darian Bosch over here is running someone down, dialed 610. Might be dialed 10 O's or something like that. So we'll be looking at the entire track before this, because this guy might be at the 8th mile before he ever gets to leave the starting line. This is going to be the coolest thing. It's going to be the coolest thing that you'll see all year, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's going to be awesome. Absolutely. I'm agreeing with you, too, on that zoomed out camera down by the quarter mile somewhere, having to capture the handicap deficit there. So ought to be a good race, man. So we got a lot going on and a lot coming up. And I definitely am looking forward to, number one, watching some drag racing. As always, if I can watch some drag racing and do work at the same time, it's almost like music to my ears, just being able to hear somebody call the laps. I don't even got to have it on. It could be on in the other room. You know what I mean? So half the time I ain't paying attention, but I just sometimes you're just like, ooh, that sounds like I heard a little bit, because you can hear the numbers start coming out in your head. In your head, you're doing the math real quick, figure out what actually just happened. So, yeah, man, Casey, we got quite a bit left in this show today, man. I don't know if you want to go to commercial now and get ready to get after it, or if you had a few more subjects before we do that.
Well, let's talk about, we'll get into it here in a second, because obviously the mainstay race of this week, the headlining race of this week, is the TB Promotions Race Derby City 100K down there in Bowling Green, Kentucky, man. And ultimately, we're going to do a power rankings and stuff like that and give you guys a little bit of a preview. We're going to do that after the commercial break that we always do. But I just want to talk about this race a little bit, just because I feel like, and I know it's not in the Midwest, like it's not underrated in the Midwest, because that's what I was getting ready to say. I feel like it's an underrated race because I feel like it doesn't get the publicity that it really deserves. Now, obviously, it's going to be on Motor Mania. We're going to be able to start watching it, I believe, I would assume on Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah, I think so.
But ultimately, it's going to be a 25, 250s, and then obviously the 100K, which, by the way, the 100K is they added through the back side of the purse because it was always going to be 100K as far as I remember.
Right.
And again, that's another one of the deals. You can notice that, we do these shows. We might not go back and watch them. You guys might know more than us about all this stuff because we had Brian and Tyler on here a few months ago, again, talking about this race right before they opened it up. It was supposed to be a 64 car shootout. Turns out to be 128.
Mm-hmm.
What's cool is they added to the backside of the purse. They didn't put it all on top. Most people have put it all on top. This race is going to pay, I want to say, 100K to the winner, 50K to runner up, 25 to semi, 10K, I want to say at 8, and maybe like 2 at 16. So the fact of the matter is, it's almost like it's already split up. The purse is almost already split all the way through. So rather than adding, say, 200 to win, which they could have easily done, it would have made them look like they have this mega race and all this, but they added it back because they're racers themselves. They understand only one person's going to win. Even if nobody splits this up, this is pretty much how it would be split for the most part anyway. Usually no one starts splitting it up till 16. I could see this race getting maybe a little split up at 16 cars to make them get a little more than 2, because 2's getting your entry back. Sure. So maybe they'd get them 3 or something. Sure. But other than that, everything looks like a normal split to me.
Yeah, and I'll show that flyer too. I do believe you're right. It's just so small on my screen here. I tried to pull it up on my big one, but I couldn't get it up there. I do believe you're right, though, that everything, instead of going right on top of that purse, started to trickle down. I love trickle-down effect, especially when it comes to any type of round money that could be going on, So looking forward to this event, and definitely will be, I think, in my opinion here, and this is always up to debate. When you come to GBR, we do give opinions. You're entitled to yours, and I'm not scared to say yours either, if you want to know what I mean. So, but I'm thinking this race is going to go in the top 3 of the year, in my opinion. It's going to compete with some of the best. And top 3 could be me pushing it, stretching it a little bit, but I think it's in the conversation.
Well, and what's cool about this whole deal, George, is not only what we were just talking about, how they put the money back further. What's cool about this event is I think a lot of people don't realize, so now it's a 128 car shootout. So first of all, there's no buy runs.
Right.
Second of all, no buybacks. Third of all, single entry. So every single person, if you put your money down to get in this race, every single one of you is on the same level. If you put the money down, you already paid the entry fee. You don't need any more money. No one's going to be able to have more entries than you. No one's going to be able to have someone buy them back, get them back in the race. Every single person out here is one go up, one come down. And it doesn't matter if you're 50 on the tree, if your man's 001 red, you're coming back to the next round, he hitting buying back. That's the end of it. And what I like about these type of races is it just seems to me, ultimately the best man wins that day most of the time, or at least the best man gets, there's always some lucky runs. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows you have lucky runs to win races. That just is what it is. But ultimately, whenever it's single entry, no buyback, at a certain point, you get to maybe like 8 cars. People are winning those rounds. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like your nerves are getting the best of you at that point if you're allowing them to. You know your car at that point. You know the tree at that point. You've all made the same amount of runs, and it's we're putting it on them. But some of the cool things they do at this race, other than that 100K, they have a car show. I want to say at this race
they do.
They're trying to bring in spectators.
And a burnout contest, I do believe. So it's a lot going on.
Trying to bring in spectators, man, which is good for the sport. Brian and Tyler are racers themselves, and they understand that we need to bring more people into the sport. And they're trying to make this a spectacle, which it is a spectacle, man. This is 100% payout. 100% payout. Anything that's been paid into this deal, they're paying over $500,000 this weekend, as far as I can tell.
Correct.
Correct. So it deserves to have the publicity that we're giving it right now. They have a car show. They have fireworks. I want to say they even have a deal that, so normally your spectator entry, I think it said was like $20. They said also, it says, or $50 per car load.
Right.
because they're just trying to get people in the gates to watch this race.
Bring them in. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's a pretty good time to do it. And this is why. If I'm not mistaken myself, and I know I'm not wrong, that W is going to be there. Well, everybody on GBR knows what that W is. That's Win Light Bets. So it'll be a good chance for Win Light Bets to have their on-track, on-site casino set up to teach, number one, teach some newbies how bracket racing actually works. But then number two, also give you a shot at winning some merch and some money. So you heard it here first, guys. If you don't got Win Light Bets, you better sign up because it's going to be televised, and I'm looking to win this time. I'm not losing this time, all right? I'm telling you, I'm winning.
And here's something else, speaking of winning, man. That whole deal with spectators coming in, they're going to give $500 to the random 500th spectator that comes in the gates.
Wow.
So, I mean, bring your carloads, man, because if you bring 5 people in there, you pay $50, they might hand you $450 back.
Yeah, I got my man JJ Pennington in here locking on them door trucks. Hey, man, I seen Blueberry getting down, leaving with the wheels up. That's what I'm talking about. Them door trucks rule. Jimmy Bay, welcome, man. It don't matter if you're late. You can hit that rewind button. It'll go right on back to the beginning anyway. But welcome in from South Florida. Casey, man, I think it's a good time, man. I think it's that time has come where we had better get on into power ranking. And guys, hang in there. As always, we're going to give a little bit of light to our marketing partners. And don't go anywhere. We will be right back here in just a couple of minutes.
TSR Racing Products has everything you need to make your Power Glide Turbo 350, Turbo 400, and 727 transmissions the best they can be on the street or at the track. With exceptional products, customer service, and over 30 years of experience, TSR Racing Products is always available to help their customers with any of their transmission needs. In-house machining ensures you only receive the best products from TSR Racing. Visit TSR Racing Products at tsr-racing.com or give them a call at 800-394-5889.
BRG Motorsports 3D printed racing parts are able to provide you with whatever you desire to enhance your drag racing operation. Items like safety belt magnets, nitrous bottle holders, and even quick release delay box mounts are able to be obtained from BRG Motorsports 3D printed racing parts. Have a look at top-selling items such as helmet hooks and steering wheel hooks, which are proven to make it easier to maneuver throughout your race car. You can contact BRG Motorsports 3D printed racing parts at telephone number 765-729-1177.
Our third-generation slim wireless vehicle scale is worth the wait. You can read cross weight, side-by-side weight, and front and rear weight, in addition to the standard weight for each wheel and total vehicle weight. You can also view on the included backlit LCD screen, complete with control buttons. The full-size 15 by 15-inch aluminum scale pads are only 1 5/16 inches thick. Each pad can hold up to 1,750 pounds for a total scale capacity of 7,000 pounds.
All right. Welcome back, Going Bracket Racing. Fans, community, can't do it without you guys. You guys help us keep the lights on more than anything. So I got to give my shout out to the fans out there right off the bat. I'd like to call it community and not fans. You see me at a track, make sure you come up. You see Casey at a track, come on up. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk. Let's meet. I haven't got a chance to meet everybody. I did get a chance at XRP to meet a couple of cool cats. And don't mind me if I don't remember names. I'm pretty bad at it. I'm just going to call that out right now. So, also, guys, thanks to Crew Chief Pro, BRG 3D Printed Parts, TSR, Ken Jones Performance, Driven Racing Oil, Proform Parts, Champs Performance, where if you need to get into a Calcutta for this week, I think Champs got a big boy Calcutta going on over there on Champs Performance Motorsports Facebook page. So take a look over there if you're trying to get in on something like that. Syntex Printing, Team 14, if I didn't mention it, and your ad here. I always give you a little bit of reference as well. Thanks to all you guys for partnering with us over here in the GBR community. So, Casey, it's kind of go time for, in my opinion, man. This was a relatively hard one for me, honestly, because there are some things that you brought up within the stream already about local racers. And there's a few locals on this 100K shootout, and don't be shocked if you see one in my power ranking. And if you know me and I know you, he's probably on your power ranking as well. But we're going to find out here in just a minute. I'll let you do the honors. Guys, this is a power ranking. Not necessarily who I expect to win this race, except for the person that I have marked number one. I kind of think my number one's going to win it all. And that's why he got the number one spot for me. So who you got first, Casey? Let's do this.
My number one is, and it's I can't decide if this is going to be your number one also, but my number one is going to be Josh Ludke, man.
So now you got to tell me why.
Josh Ludke, first of all, I mean, we all grew up in the Midwest, everything. Josh around the Evansville, Terre Haute area, things like that. Josh has always been a good racer. His dad was a really good racer. This is all Josh has ever done, really, is race, man. But he finally decided, I think he hooked up with Steve Law, kind of.
Yep.
And Steve might have finally given him the opportunity to say, hey, let's follow this series. You saw him deep at Vegas this year already. Josh's been doing this a while, man. And where Josh shows up, lightning strikes twice in the same spot a lot of times for Josh Ludke, and this is his home turf sort of area. And that's why Josh Ludke is my number one, man. Josh Ludke can hit the tree, he can run the number. A lot of times he's running maybe one of Lester Adkins' dragsters, and I think if you don't see Josh Ludke win this deal, you're gonna see him down in the money. I can tell you that.
Like the call out, I looked at him hard. I'm not even gonna joke. And you're going to be a little upset with me when you hear the rest of my list go down. Lukey's name might not have made it to my list. I'm just calling that out right now.
Man, how dare you?
It was a tough one for me, guys, and that takes nothing away from Lukey. But, man, there's just a lot going on at this race. And it's fitting for me that I haven't seen this old boy that I'm about to mention get in the groove that we all are accustomed to. To where either it's getting back to dead on, it's knocking the tree over every single hit, whatever the case may be, right? My number one pick on my power ranking will go to Hunter Patton. I haven't seen him do what we are used to Hunter Patton doing this year. It's about time. And we've seen him racing kind of a little bit this year, but we haven't seen him on this stage, and this is that's why I picked Hunter Patton to win the 100K. That's who I'm going with.
Definitely a good choice, man. And I had him on my list, and then I started looking through the list, and I was like, man, I just wanted to go through and kind of give some local boys some love, man. People who I really like. I've known a lot of these people my entire life. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying it because they're my friends or whatever. I'm just saying that these are people that you need to watch out for in this area because I know what they can do because I've seen them do it a million times. And next person on my list is going to be somebody that a lot of people are going to be familiar with, and that's Nick Folk. Nick Folk, by far one of the heaviest, if not the heaviest hitter in the Illinois area, going down to Bowling Green, somewhere that he's raced a million times at. I think Nick Folk's going to be a big-time player in this deal, man, just like he is at any event. I wonder if he's going to show. I think the door car, I mean, you know how the folks are. They got tons of cars, tons of motors, things like that. I'm sure Nick will be driving the dragster in this particular race. Nick started his own chassis company. They've been having folk race cars for a long, long time. Nick's going to know the car inside and out. He can drive the car whenever it isn't his own build, and I know his own build's going to be ready to go too. So Nick Folk's my number two, man.
Nick Folk is a good call. Yeah, you're not going to be shocked to see him on my list. I expected him on yours as well. So got to give my Nightcrawler and my fishing pole and about a 100-pound test for this week, in my opinion, because Catfish Lynch is going to be tough to mess with. I don't care what he's driving. Put him in one of the dragsters. You put him in his door car, Moser car, whatever you put him in. I've got Catfish Lynch coming in number 2 on the power ranking for me for the week. And simply because once he gets to moving, he's just one of those animals that you don't want to let get a head of steam on him. He'll light you up real quick if you let him get his head of steam. So taking Catfish Lynch this on my number 2. I have to say that again, my number 1 and 2. These are 2 racers that we haven't seen quite get their usual licks in at a race, and this just so happens to be a stage at which these 2 racers generally tend to show up at. So give me Catfish number 2.
Definitely a good pick, man, because I mean, Jason's been doing it a long time. He's been winning since we were born, to be honest with you. I mean, Will Holloman was on our show a few weeks ago. He lived with Jason for a while, and he told us how Jason Lynch got so good, basically racing every single day. Jason's won a lot of stuff, and it wouldn't surprise me to see him deep in this. But you know who is somebody who's going to ring a bell for you? Should be on your list if they're not on your list. Jeremy McCaig. Jeremy McCaig owned that place not too long ago, man.
You got McCaig number 3?
I got Jeremy McCaig number 3, and he's somebody that I've raced with a lot. Him and his 2 brothers are 3 of the best at Gateway. Growing up, Jeremy went on a tear. I want to say a 10-tuck not too long ago.
Mr. 10-tuck, shoot.
I mean, he was basically unbeatable out there. So, I mean, and he can do it in a door car. He can do it in a dragster. He can do it hitting the bottom. He can do it hitting the top. He can do it on the Pro Tree, man. He's done it on the Pro Tree. I mean, it's Jeremy McCaig, one of the most underrated racers in the Midwest. Should be a household name, and maybe he will be after this weekend.
Yeah, man, I like it that you brought that up. He's on my list. He's on here. You just ain't where you had him. So I knew me and you was going to get that one on there. And not just because we grew up around the McCaigs. Sorry, I always do that because of how it's spelled. But I want to say anytime I see a 10-tuck, Jeremy done took home some of that. Or at least maybe even 2 of them. Who knows, That man, he owns. It shouldn't be Beach Bend Raceway no more. It ought to be Jeremy McKay Park. You know what I mean? So, good choice there, Casey. Good choice. But, I'm coming in number 3. Coming in strong at number 3, in my opinion. Fresh off a very strong outing for the beginning of the year for this racing team altogether. And I have to say, less than what I think he would have expected at the Fling in Vegas. I believe 5th or 6th round. Done something that I don't think I've ever seen him do before, but everybody knows we're all human and all of us in this sport have done this, where you break out when you got quite a bit at the finish line. Going to throw, because of a very strong start to this year, putting Bogacki in at number 3. I believe Old Cool Hand's going to have a pretty good shot at continuing or picking up where he left off. But on top of that, making the necessary tweaks to his program and his driving skill to put that one little loss back on the win in the win column for him. So Luke's got a head of steam going. I think I read the other day he might have been either in the finals or close to it at Benton on Saturday. So he's coming in already at on a pretty good rhythm. Give me Bogacki number 3, Casey.
He's going to have a lot of cars out there doing it, man, because he's going to have his boy out there running juniors. I think Jess is going to be in the big race. Luke's going to be in the big race, and I think E-Step's actually driving the Vega.
Really?
So,
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So E-Step could be a threat too. Then E-Step's a good racer, man. So
where was it at? Was it at Xenia last year where I see E-Step? He really got into a groove at Xenia, I want to say, last year. So yeah, that's a good call. E-Step's got a good shot at putting together some laps as well.
My number 4, George, and this is somebody you'll know about, Todd Ewing, also known as Bones, the guy who hauls Langdon's dragster around for him. I think he worked for Huntsville Engine for a long, long time, started doing his own thing. Bones, man, he can throw down. He's been throwing down for years and years and years, and it wouldn't surprise me to see him deep at this race.
That's a good call. I saw him on the list again. I saw it, and I just didn't pull the trigger on him, especially not in this spot for me here, because I have to go with a familiar name in spot number 4. As somebody who has a few wounds to lick after the Gallatin spring fling, you all know that old Matt Daddis guy who, honestly, I think if he were on this show right now, he would tell all of us he expected a little bit more of himself from spring fling Gallatin. Not taking anything from this young man here, because everybody knows he goes toe to toe with the best of the best and is considered one of the best of the best. But I feel a little bit of redemption coming at a race at which I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of his friends, a lot of his people at this race as well. So give me Matt Daddis number 4, Casey. That's a kind of an obvious one for me.
Yeah, man, it's Matt's always a threat anywhere he goes, and obviously, you know, it's kind of funny to say this, but for Matt, that would be a lackluster performance at Gallatin Motorsports Park. But you know, obviously Matt's going to win more than he loses. He's going to go deep at this race. We all know that. If he doesn't do good in this one, he'll probably, oh, woe is me, and win a 50. You know what I mean? So
right.
Yeah, it is what it is. But my number 5 is somebody you're going to know, George. It's somebody I've already mentioned a little bit earlier, and that's Lester Adkins, somebody who we've known our entire lives, who's always been winning races. Ever since I can remember, I remember him winning at Evansville with a Pro Mod car, going 490s in like the mid-90s, with 632 with nitrous, which was a legit Pro Mod car back then.
Was it aluminum?
Lester Adkins. Yes,
yeah,
I believe it was aluminum with a wing the size of a house on it, like they used to do back in the day. It was an awesome car, man. Right. I did talk to Lester not terribly long ago, and he said he had actually been looking for that car back. I can't remember if he said he found it or not, but anyway, he didn't end up with it. But Lester has always been one of the most savvy finish line drivers that you will ever see. He was one of the first people to understand what a spray drop was. He was one of the first people to spray it to get there whenever you didn't think he was going to get there. You know, a guy that just has all the finish line tactics and the absolute best of the best equipment from Philip Oakley that you can possibly buy. And you always see Lester down in the numbers whenever you're looking at the OG million. He's been deep in the OG million a lot. He's been deep at all these flings a lot. Like he's always deep wherever he goes, at least one of the days. And it's another guy that, like I was just saying about Matt, if Lester doesn't win this 100-grander, he's liable to win one or two of the other races.
Yeah, and I want to say Bowling Green's one of those tracks that Lester has quite a few laps on. I don't think it's very far away from where he might be residing. And anyway, you have to remind me there. But definitely going to be a pretty tough mountain to get over the top of, in my opinion. And it doesn't matter who's racing. Good call on Lester for sure. Give me Nick Folk at number 5 for all the reasons that you said that he would be number 2. And it doesn't matter to me what car he's driving. I don't care what he's in. He can probably get in his toter home and still do good. You know what I mean? He's just one of those type of people. So give me Nick Folk right there for all the reasons you said at number 5.
Yeah, man. One of the most versatile drivers that there is out there, period. He's won class championships, he's won in every sort of thing that you can win in. I mean, it's undeniable. Nick's one of the best racers on that entire list. And here's another person, especially because his entire life is racing now, Doug Foley Jr.
Good call.
I mean, this is somebody who can hold numbers, who can drive dragsters, drive door cars. Like I said, he's involved with IHRA now. His dad's involved with Top Fuel. This guy has been in every facet of the sport. It's somebody, I want to say he's already won a couple Wallies this year, maybe, and Super Cup or something like that.
I'm not sure. I've talked to him on the phone a few times, but I just failed to ask. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But maybe.
Well, I mean, ultimately, one thing that I do know he won, the 300 out here at Gallatin last year at Loose Rocker whenever it was so hot. So at the end of the day, man, Doug Foley can do it in anything. He can do it as a hired gun. He can do it in his own stuff. And Doug Foley's going to be deep in this race.
Yeah, man. And to rival that number 6, Doug Foley's a good call. I have to go with Will Holloman here. Will Holloman coming off of I would call it an impressive win for my standard, 15K. I mean, I'd love to win 15K. But to someone as hungry as Will Holloman, that might just be the appetite suppressant that causes him to win this 100K. Because I feel like he's hungry and he didn't get quenched. Something stopped him from getting full. So watch out for Holloman. If he gets on a string, and especially if he driving that Chris Bear race truck, put that door truck in the doggone winner circle, Willie Wood, man, because I got you in at number 6 on the power ranking for sure.
Yeah, and side note on that, Drag Racer 4809 says Holloman's better in the truck.
Yep.
That's, man, you can't argue with that as far as last year is concerned, because he was kind of unbeatable in the truck last year. As you know,
it's a true statement. It's a true statement. I got Jeremy Rosenthal over here too. I think he had probably a really good outing at Benton, and another one maybe a week or two ago. So them door trucks, brother, I'm gonna tell you, they rule. I don't know if I've told anybody that, but those door trucks, they rule. I'm just trying to throw that out there. Brian Cook, thanks for stepping in here, man, and glad to see you out here as well. Casey, what you got for number 7?
Number 7 for me is somebody that's not going to surprise anybody, man, especially after this weekend. It shouldn't surprise anybody, period, but Donovan Williams, man. I want to say in the final of the 100K against Tommy Plott, got down there, didn't lose by much, is one of those deals. But in fact, actually, now that I think about it, he might have red lighted the final. I can't remember. But anyway, the fact of the matter is that Donovan Williams is always going deep. That's why I can't keep track of any of this stuff, man, because Donovan Williams is always deep. But Donovan Williams, man, he's got a long way to go to be his dad, but he's on the right track to getting there.
So I will say this, and we had a post, I think, maybe when Tommy Plott won the whole deal, where somebody said, man, that old Donovan Williams, he's going to be a heavy hitter. Let me correct you guys, and let me just go on record. Yeah, that kid's already an assassin. He's heavy hitter, above heavy hitter status at this point, the level at which he goes rounds.
Yeah, and what do you expect, man? Literally has 2 of the best teachers ever. Like, his dad is arguably the greatest bracket racer of all time.
Right.
And, it's one of those things, and this is no disrespect to Donovan, but, 30 years from now, we'll talk about him being as good as his dad, because his dad has been winning for 30 years.
Yeah.
His uncle has been doing the same. But, I mean, it would surprise me more if Donovan sucked versus him being as good as he is, because Donovan has the absolute best teachers in this entire sport, Troy and Gary Williams.
It's just a true statement. It really is. The Williams brothers is what you might as well call them now, or Williams and Sons, whatever you want to call them. It doesn't matter. I want to say I saw Donovan versus Gary at the Fling, but I can't.
Dad got him.
Yeah, because Donovan went red. You getting jumpy out there. I'm gonna need everything I got to get around this old man here. Yeah. So.
He knows what his old man can do, because who do you think taught him how to do all that stuff?
I'm shocked he didn't roll in about 5. I'm gonna be real. Shoot, I think when I raced my dad for the first time, I might have rolled in like 20. I was 30 on the tree though.
When I raced my dad the first time, I was dialed, I think, 200 faster than him, because I was light when I was 16 years old. I was a skinny kid, and I actually almost red lighted before he red lighted.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Oh, you let go big time.
Yeah, I was like, I want to say like 16 red, and he might have been like 2 red or something like that.
I got you. Oh man. Good, man. Good. Coming in at 7 for me, I gotta go with Jeggy. Jeggy, he's likely gonna be in that wagon. Everybody knows that when he gets on that horn, he coming around you, and he's probably gonna stop right when that happens. So, give me Jeggy. I'm talking about Jeg Coughlin, so I'm pretty sure I don't have to give you a whole backstory as to why he would make my power ranking list. So give me Jeggy. And
if you do need a backstory, he's been on this show too. Go back and watch it.
Just go back and watch. But give me Jeggy.
George,
I'm warning everybody on this list. Don't let Jeggy get ahead of steam on y'all. That's all I got for you.
Here, I agree with you, man. I mean, literally one of the most classes in NHRA history, as far as I know.
Don't let the machine get turned on, man. It's almost like I've been watching NBA, and this is a basketball reference to all of my drag racing buddies and everybody. But somebody said, I'll poke the bear. I like poking bears. And then he poked the bear, and now he ain't even getting signed back on his basketball team. So don't poke bears. Don't try to poke Jeggy. He's going to get you.
This is somebody This is somebody that I know as soon as I say it, you're going to be like, man, should have had him on the list, man. Do you remember the name Jesse Bobo?
Oh yeah.
Jesse Bobo dominated the Midwest, I want to say, in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I'm sure still does to this day, man. But Jesse Bobo, again, one of the people that's a very savvy finish line racer. Never personally met him, but I've watched him race a ton over the years and is always deep in the rounds. And I want to say Memphis might be his home turf, Bowling Green area, things like that. And Jesse Bobo is going to be a threat at this race, man.
That's a good call. I hadn't heard that name in a long time, as a matter of fact, Casey. And case in point, we've talked about this on this show many times. Are the local racers just slouches when it comes to the big money racing? This race is going to show us something. I'm honest with you, and I don't want to let it just be dubbed that type of race, but there are a lot of locals in that 100K, and we're getting ready to see is this going to be a fact. So I got Jeremy McKay right there. You have mentioned, I have mentioned, the world has seen. If it's at Bowling Green, Kentucky, the chances of this man being anywhere near the final are very, very, very high. If they have to rename that facility for any reason, Jeremy McKay Raceway will work real good there. I think so. I'm just saying, it works perfect. So that's my number 8. Who you got number 9, man? Coming to a close.
It's somebody that I've been, again, watching my entire life. Him and my dad had the same car for a really long time, or for a short time, whatever. Whenever I was little, it seemed like a long time. But Dave Angeli. Man, especially in that Camaro Roadster. I mean, Dave's a great racer no matter what he's driving. But in that Camaro Roadster, he's pretty unstoppable, man. He'll win a few races, at Benton a year. He'll win a big race every year. Dave has probably paid for that car in race winnings. Yep. And it's one of the nicest cars you'll see because Dave's a body man. Yep. and does great work. So ultimately that orange Camaro Roadster, if it's there, is going to be very deep in this $100,000 race.
That's a good call. It is there, I'm pretty sure too. And I want to say Dave Angeli got on a pretty good string there at TB's Twin 50s last year. In the 50 grander. I can't remember quite, so don't quote me there. But good call right there, Casey. Another local boy on your list, and I expected that. Give me Shane Clark. Oh, wait, go ahead.
Quick side note on Dave Angeli. Dave Angeli had one of the best 540s, I believe it was, that was ever built, in my opinion, because everything was happy together. He was going low 470s in a dragster, I want to say in the early 2000s, with I want to say it was a steel block, 540 cubic inch. We didn't have all these nice headhunter heads and stuff back then. It wasn't a big Chief motor either, I don't think. But tunnel ram, had a dry sump on it, but was going like 460s, 470s back in the early 2000s. Just wanted to say that little tidbit.
Yeah, and you're right too. I remember that. And but yeah, if you heard me, I said give me Shane Carr, give me Sugar. Again, I watched the Fling. I watched the majority of the Fling. And when Kerry comes in here and says Sugar started off strong, he really did. I was watching and I started to think to myself, hey, Sugar keeps this up for about that one good round that you need before you really hit that rhythm. And he's going to be a train to deal with, freight train coming down the track. So I've got Sugar Shane Carr kind of picking up where he left off from the Spring Fling Gallatin. And I don't need to explain. If you don't know Sugar Shane Carr and his police record, he's probably on a wanted poster at a lot of these racetracks. So, give me Shane Carr. That's all I got. Yep.
Yeah, and that was actually my buddy Cody Strickland's dragster that he was driving there at Gallatin, and that's a good car. I told everybody as soon as I saw him driving that, I said, "Is that Cody's black car?" And they said, "Yeah." Because, all those black dragsters look the same. But Cody's got a blue cage, so it kind of does stand out a little bit.
Right.
And I was like, man, that's about the best hired gun you can probably pick at that track. So, and it worked out for him, man. I think that Shane went deeper than the rest of the team did that weekend. So, good pick on Cody's behalf for that deal. But my number 10, man, this is going to be somebody who is going to be, everybody's going to know who it is as soon as I say it, but Philip Oakley. this is legitimately his home turf, man. And I'm interested more than anything to see which car Philip brings to the track, because obviously he's got some bad, fast dragsters. He's always building top dragster, top sportsman motors. Jay just won a super quick race the other day, I want to say. So he might be in that car. Phil might be in a car. I mean, he's been, I want to say, like 360s in his fast car. So you don't know what Philip's going to show up with, but there's always a chance that he might be out there dialed 375 with everybody else. So
wow.
You never know. That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, and this is their home turf for the most part too, Oakley's, I think they're somewhere close to there. If they're not close to there, they race there quite a bit as well. I know that I want to say Super Quick may go to Bowling Green twice. Don't quote me, but I think it may go there twice. And they, Jay Oakley has been the king of Super for a couple of years now, I think.
Jay and Phil both. Whenever Phil quit being the king of it, Jay became the king of it.
Yeah, so definitely a good call there. Giving me my number 10. Give me Miss Mia. Give me Tedesco here, Fuel Factory herself. I feel like, again, my list was, when I was making this list, I really focused on those who get in a groove and haven't quite showed me their groove in maybe a couple of races that have been televised. Who knows what they're doing on the ones that aren't on Motormania or any of the other streaming services there. But give me Mia for the simple fact that, I think that once she gets on the string and kind of races at the level that she's used to racing at, you got to watch out for her. You can't just go to sleep when you pull up on that Mosier. And she's probably going to be in a Camaro. If she's not, she's going to be in a dragster. But that Camaro is nice, number one. And she'll let go on you, and you ain't coming back around if she's got you. So that's just how I see it, dude. That was fun, Casey. That was hard as well at the same time, because if everybody has been listening here, this is probably the first time, period, that we've done any type of ranking before we get out of here where I didn't hear Gary Williams, I didn't hear Troy Williams. I see the LaBousses are out there. I see Barclays out there. I see Glenn Dildays out there. Alan Glatz out. There's a lot of big name racers on that list. So please let me say that I am not taking anything from anybody on that list. Each one of them can knock each one of these people out of the race at any given point in time, man. So let me throw that out there.
Yeah, man, but at any given point, what this has proven, only 2 of our people matched. I've been taking it down over here. If anybody's seen me looking over.
You and me both.
And so the only people that matched on our list are Nick Folk and Jeremy McKeag, man. So what this is telling me is that
it's wide open.
Anybody can win this race, man. Like, this is legitimately, when you look through this list, it's literally, you got to put up $2,000 to even get in this race. So you're only going to be a hitter if you're on there. There's a lot of people that I was really thinking on, but the fact of the matter is that all these people are somebodies, and just because you haven't heard of their names, that doesn't necessarily mean anything, man, because a lot of people on my list, they work for a living.
Right.
That's the reason you don't see them traveling. But when you do see them travel, for example, my number 1 pick, Josh Ludke. Josh Ludke is a big name anywhere you go.
Anywhere, and because he does get out to the bigger races. He's able to get on the road and go and compete. And you're right. Anytime you hear that name Lutke, it's probably somewhere near the purse. Yeah, it's going to take the purse home. So definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a really interesting race to watch. These power rankings are always fun, man, and we'll put something up to get the GBR community involved a little bit more with it. Let us know who your picks are, man. Tebow has the and Brian, for that matter, on the Race Derby City website, they have the entire list up there. In fact, actually, now that I say that, I think that it might be on their Facebook page and not on their website, but the whole list is out there, so let us know who you think's going to win. That's what's cool about this race. They release who's in it.
Right.
So you can start betting. You can start doing all this stuff. Win Light Bets is going to be fun with this whole deal, man.
It's going to be fun. I want to say I heard from Megan Bohannon that there may be 1 or 2, give or take, this was a few hours ago. They probably gone already. Because if you heard when Brian and Tyler were on the show, I told them they were going to break the internet. Well, they broke it because that race sold out in like 5 minutes or something crazy. So there are a couple of entries left into the 100K, if I'm not wrong here. So if you're looking to throw down and get into that race, hey, thinking there's a couple left. This was as of, I want to say, around 1 o'clock. So it's 5 o'clock now. So I don't know. I always talk Central. I'm sorry, Casey. It's 5 o'clock here. But I don't know if those are still left. Casey, man, this was fun. I have to be honest with you. This is fun. I like races that are structured this way, that we can do something like this and kind of make a list of who's going to be those to watch out for, or power ranking like we just did, man. What you got in closing?
Man, not a whole lot. Just again, thank all those people that allow GBR to happen every single week. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button on whatever platform you're looking at: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, what else? Podcast, whatever podcast. I mean, there's too many of them to mention, but just find GBR, man. Obviously, if you get the chance, hit up Team 14 Motorsports, Champs Performance Parts. Use the code GBR over there. Champ give you a little bit of a discount. Use GBR10 at Driven Racing Oil. Get the best methanol-specific motor oil out there right now. Get 10% off with GBR10. ProFormParts.com. Get your carburetors, starters, alternators, rocker arms, on and on. Man, distributors. Keep on going. Visit ProFormParts.com. Check them out. Crew Chief Pro software, crewchiefpro.com. Check that out. Help you with those dial-ins. BRG 3D printed parts. He can make you anything that you need, period. TSR Racing Products. Get those transmissions right and in order. Ken Jones Performance. Syntex Printing out there in Temple, Texas. Get you those nice GBR stickers.
I still got a few left.
High-quality stickers.
I got a few left. More. Yeah, man.
We got some more.
I don't think I filled out so much mail, man. I feel like my hand was hurting. I'm out of stamps. but hit me up. I got a few more left if you need a couple of GBR stickers and just let me know. I'll get them out to your door.
Absolutely, man. So other than that, I guess we will see them when, George.
Next Tuesday, as always. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for sharing. Have fun watching some drag racing this week. See you later.